It's about a young girl who starts off at 18, and at the end of the book, she's 21. So it's young adult fiction. It's basically a coming of age type story, and yeah, a lot goes on. So
Well, that's surprising. I thought she was younger. I had in my head that she was a younger protagonist. So that's kind of news to me. She's
oh,
18.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know. I think I had a writing manuscript appraisal. One of the ones I had said I should make her younger, but I sort of decided not to because she was driving, and it's kind of like,
Oh yeah.
in Australia,
Yeah.
obviously you need to be 18 because you're at
Yeah.
17 you can learner plates or whatever.
Yeah.
So I sort of just kept it
Yeah,
as
no,
that.
that's cool. So
Yeah.
she's not actually going to school then. She's what's the story with the 'cause I know you've told me a little bit about it, and I know there's a
Yeah.
big part of it is with the fact that she went to a Catholic girls' school. Is that sort of in
Yeah.
the past then, or how does that play out?
Yeah, it is in the past. So she did do VCE the previous year when she was 17, but she dropped out. So the book is for if people don't like, oh, this is a disclaimer or warning or something. If people don't like flashbacks in books, then sorry about that. So this yeah, this kind of like you got your old asterisks and your italics, and then it goes into flashbacks. It has a lot of flashbacks. I did get rid of some of them because I was told that some of them didn't really relate very well to what was going on and stuff. So obviously, with any novel, there's lots and lots of drafts. But it's running in now time, but things trigger her memory from school days and stuff that went on, and then she goes back in time and she's at school and stuff.
Ah, right, okay. And what sort of triggered the idea? So what was the spark?
Well, I studied professional writing and editing many years back, and I did that for 2 years. And it was during the summer break. I kind of was waiting for the next year to start, and I think it was a creative writing exercise I did or something. I just came up with a character, and then I decided to do popular fiction the second year. And that's when Georgie really came to life, because obviously that was like the teacher was fantastic. I think she was a obviously published author. I think she was doing I think she wrote crime fiction. And so every week, we'd workshop, what we've written, and it was just really fantastic. So it really got going then. So it really was inspired by just kind of a creative writing type project. I just came up with the name of the girl straight away. I've just always liked the name. I've just liked it, and I had sort of her in my head and stuff, about what she was like straight away.
Wow, that's great when it sort of comes fully formed into your head. So, and we have to say, we're talking about Georgie. So this is your
Yes.
debut novel.
Yep.
Um, and is a lot of it based on your personal experience, or at least some of it?
Yeah, it's I think it's loosely based on me. So obviously it's fiction, and a lot of it is fiction. But there are, some things that are non-fiction, but it's still fiction. uh,
Fiction,
um,
non-fiction, yeah. Yeah,
yeah, you know
okay.
what I mean. But
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, of course. I mean, everybody pulls from their personal experience, I guess. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But you went to Catholic girls' school.
I did indeed.
No comment, no further comment on that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would have liked to have gone to school with the boys. Like, I think I always kind of missed that because it took me a really, really long time. It wasn't until after I left school when I was 17 when I actually had my first boy, like, friend, as in a friend,
Yeah.
because before that it was just my brother's friends from school would come over. But it's just like totally isolated from the opposite sex, and um Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just my opinion. Other people think, it works well for them, but
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's personal choice. But yeah, I know what you mean, that it can it sort of creates this artificial sort of atmosphere, doesn't it? So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, what about your writing process? Can you tell me a little bit about how you go about getting words on a page?
Yeah. Well, back, before I had a child, obviously there was more time involved. I remember when I was doing that course, I used to do that class, I think Thursdays, and then I'd get home and I'd be like, other people would get home and just sit in front of the TV. But that class would inspire me so much. At the time I was living alone, and I would sit down and just write until midnight. It was really
Wow.
weird. That was, very long ago. But these days, it's really just around obviously work, parenting, stuff, whatever you have to do, music as well. So, but I find because my daughter is just turned 11, obviously she's able to kind of do stuff her own um,
Yeah.
uh, a lot more now compared to when she was, so tiny and needed supervision. So, many times, like at the moment, we're all in different parts of the house doing our own thing. And yeah, like obviously the days where I'm not working or if she's at school and I have a few hours, that's fantastic. But even when she's here, if she's just playing games on her iPad or reading or something like that, I can still get some stuff
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. And is it difficult to get in the zone? How do you deal with like distractions and the internet and whatever else?
Yeah, it's hard. Now that I've got TikTok, like that's just like my God, it's just like a zone out. I'm sort of aware of it when I do it.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, you're a writer yourself, of course. But I mean, you know what it's like? It's like it really depends on your mood, whether you're tired or whatever. But I just find like sometimes you might actually do a lot of writing. Other times um, you just think, you just kind of want some peace and quiet. Like I just like silence, next door with the chainsaws and that, having neighbors isn't fun sometimes. But I
Yeah.
just like but sometimes I'll just literally just be staring out the window thinking of ideas, and then I'll come up with an idea. Other times I'll and some yeah, I mean it's just yeah, it's just such a, I don't know. It really depends on your mood, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. How
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
you can get done. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just requires a lot more discipline now than before all these distractions.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I just, hats off to anybody who manages to get that many pages written or that many words written. So yeah, I think that that's an amazing achievement in and of itself. And talking about your writing process, because it started a while ago. Do you want to talk about
Mm.
how, it
Yeah.
started
Yeah. No.
and how long it took?
Well, it's basically started 2 decades ago. So
Oh my
it's
God.
absolutely yeah, but like it's not been 2 decades of it being written. Like I started it, oh gosh, I think it was at the end of 2003. So but there was so many years where I wasn't working on it. I mean, I was doing like music and stuff, and then I was like, that was kind of taking off. So that was like my focus because I was touring and trying to be a rock star and stuff. And there was a long period of time where I wasn't working on it. So it's really difficult to, I can't answer the question of how long it took me to write because it
Yeah.
didn't take that long, but I don't know, maybe 10 years, I don't know, which I think is kind of standard
Right.
sometimes, I think, for the debut novel.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it just takes a while to, especially if you're doing other things, obviously. I mean, who has time to write full time? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to take a few years. And what about in terms of the your main character?
Yep.
Do you want to talk about her a little bit?
Yeah, well, basically, so yeah, so she went to a Catholic girls' school. She has a nun nemesis. So I just have this
I just love
fascination
that.
with evil nuns, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah, we all have our
I
obsessions.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because my partner and I have been going down the, I don't know, we've been watching horror movies, like I don't know why, we just started, and then I found the Nun and the Nun 2, and of
Right.
course, I mean the the whole evil nun in movies and TV, and the trope, as you will, it's sounding like,
Trope none.
yeah, yeah, the trope. Anyway, it's such a big thing in like folklore and pop culture and stuff. It's just fascinating, And I was taught by nuns, and some of them were really really horrible. So, and but some of them weren't, So
Mm.
it's kind of like yeah, so basically she's got this nun nemesis, and this woman's crazy, and this woman is just like has made a doll of her, and it just, so you've
Oh,
got the
no.
creepy dolls going on. It's not horror,
So
but
the
there is
nun has
supernatural.
dolls. The nun has dolls.
Sorry.
The nun has dolls. The
Yeah,
nun. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it's sort of, there is a bit of supernatural, themes and stuff in it too, like moderate. But yeah, so this woman's crazy, and she's just stalking her, and at the same time she's very rich. She lives in a rich suburb in Melbourne. She has a mother she doesn't get along with, who's really pretentious, and a stepdad that she hates. She hates the fact that she's wealthy. She doesn't think she deserves to be, because she hasn't worked for this money. She has real issues with that, and
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So there's kind of a lot going on.
Oh, so yeah, so there's kind of social commentary as well. Bit of a message there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And who is it for? I mean, you say it's young adults, so it's for like 16 plus, or what would be your recommendation?
Yeah, yeah. It was originally, I think they were saying 14, but it's kind of like, I think 16 plus definitely. It's
Okay.
not it's definitely not middle grade. It's got, drug references and things like that. Like so 16 plus. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously fans of YA will like it, but I mean, it's set in Melbourne, so it has real Melbourne landmarks that are talked about, and it's Australian fiction. So obviously, anyone who likes things that are actually set in a real city, as
Yeah.
opposed to some fantasy land or whatever. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think it has humor in it. Like, it does have humor, and like it's like anything, like watching movies or TV or your favorite TV show movies. Like, it's important to have everything, like you laugh, you cry, whatever, and it moves around a lot, so you'll find yourself laughing, and then there'll be something that's really sad too, because
Yeah.
she's had some sad stuff happen to her as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So we've got Georgie and her nemesis. Nun. What did you say?
None nemesis.
Nun nemesis, which I think is great. And we talked about your so your motivation, and oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you want to talk because you mentioned a little bit that you have your music background. I mean, how much did that influence the writing of the book, or is it thing? I think, do you keep the both very separate? How do you?
Yeah, well, I deliberately didn't make her a musician. I mean, obviously, because that's what I know. Like, I deliberately didn't make her a musician, and because I am. But then I made her rich, like a millionaire, which I'm
Right.
not. So by the way, I'm not. But I found that really fascinating, because it's kind of like, the whole write what you know, and to a certain extent, write what you know. But I find it fascinating to write somebody who's so ridiculously wealthy, and just from my own imagination, or watching,
Yeah.
stuff like oh gosh, I forgot the name of the show, the one that just
Yeah. Oh
Succession.
God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you watch stuff and you're like, oh, and they're so wealthy and they're flying on the private jet and stuff, and it's like pretty easy to create stuff from your
Yeah.
own imagination. I do research sometimes, like I'm not a massive researcher, but when there are things that I need to know what I'm doing, I will research. But
Yeah.
it's just heaps of fun to imagine this whole scenario of her just really living in this mansion, and there being so much money, because I just can't fathom that myself. And it's like it's
Right.
just so much fun to write it.
Yeah.
It's actually really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's takes you out of your own existence completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously. So yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I didn't, yeah, I think you'd mentioned it before, but I'd forgotten that she was that incredibly wealthy. So that's
Mm.
fun. And do you have any influences or writing or otherwise?
Yeah, I think my favorite book of all time is oh my god, come on, bro. Is no,
Is
honestly,
it
it's
Catcher
like
in the
this is
Rye?
really
No.
funny. Yes, it is. I was about to say
Yeah.
J.D. Salinger, like duh, like it's just yeah, so organized. Yeah, so I've had a copy of that book, Penguin Classic. It's really old. I've had that for a really long time. And it's one of those books that I reread every couple of years. I think I read it again last year, maybe. Like, I don't know, it's just the language. It's just something about it that, it's kind of depressing of too.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite book, and obviously a fan of him, fan of S.E. Hinton. The Outsiders, of course, is fantastic. And I'm rereading The Bell Jar at the moment, which
Oh,
is
that's
also
great. Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's dark, but then sometimes, like, she'll say something, it just cracks me up because it just
Yeah.
is like, oh my god, that's me. So sort of, I guess, they're kind of coming of age, sort of,
Yeah.
you know that sort
Yeah.
of whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not so familiar with all of them, but I know the Bell Jar, and those are
Yeah.
kind of really dark. As you say, they're really dark, not hopeful kind of books. But
Mm.
how would you describe your book, though? I mean, it's not really in the same vein, is it? Or
Um,
like, what's the journey? Is it like a hopeful ending, or should we not go into this, spoilers or?
Well, there are like a few twists and turns and a few things that I probably shouldn't say because that aren't mentioned, and then you find out and you're like, oh
Right.
wow, okay. So
Yeah.
so I won't go into everything. But I mean, she does have reactive depression. She has had some dark stuff happen to her in the past. She's an outsider, basically. So that's the other thing about, what sort of people would like the book or whatever. And she is an outsider who, she doesn't fit into her environment, obviously, because she hates all this wealth. And, like, I don't even know where that idea came from. Like I said, obviously that's not from me, but
Mm.
I just thought it'd be interesting to and Catholic guilt is such a huge thing. Like, anyone that went to a Catholic school, it's like, and that's a theme through the whole book too. It's like Catholic guilt strikes again. Like, she's always feeling guilty about everything. Like, oh my god, what have I done? I've stuffed this up again. Like,
Yeah.
she is quite depressed. But but she gets out of it and good things start to happen. But she doesn't let many people in. Like, she has quite a few issues going on.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're writing the sequel already, I think. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, uh, is it still set in Melbourne?
Yeah. We're going to country Victoria now.
Ah, nice.
um yeah, so considering the first one took decades, well, with a big break in the middle, I've written, like, I just hit 60,000
Oh,
words.
wow.
And I reckon I've done that in a year and a half. And I'm like, how the heck did that happen? And
Yeah.
it's really very, very bizarre. But yeah, it's the first one kind of ends on, no spoilers, but let's just say I've set it up for a sequel. Um but yeah, this kind of like answers questions, and like it just moves towards her. The thing I really like about it is like starting her at, quite young, 18. I mean, she's still a teenager, older teenager, but then I'm moving her through to like, early 20s,
Mm.
and sort of like with everybody, they people change and learn lessons and stuff like that, and grow up, I suppose. So, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the second one, and there's going to be a third one too.
Ah,
Yeah, so I've decided I'm going to do a trilogy, and then after that, I don't know. So the third one, basically, at so the second one, so the first one's called George. The second one is The Plot Solidifies. That's the name of the
okay.
second one, and the third one is Georgie Goes to Greece.
Oh, that's a
Now that's
curveball.
Yeah, and this is like for anybody, out there who was a fan of the Gidget movies, back in, when I was a kid. Like, you remember the Gidget movies? I
Yeah,
think Sally Field, and Gidget Goes to Rome,
yeah,
and there was like Gidget does this, and it's like Georgie Goes to Greece. I don't know. I just like the sound of it because her
yeah.
best friend is Greek, so that's the
Right.
connection there. One of her
Okay.
best friends is Greek, and so that's going to be over a shorter period of time, and but the other thing she does is she rescues animals. She's a huge animal lover. And I did some research, and there's apparently 1 billion stray dogs in Greece.
Wow. Okay, well, there's a
That's
motivation there.
There's a motivation, yeah. But the thing is, I've never been there. I've been to Europe, and I've seen certain countries in Europe, but I've never been to Greece. So this is going to be a research city.
Any excuse for sure.
Yeah,
Um, that sounds amazing. I was going to ask something that now I've forgotten. Um, but no, it's gone. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to kind of highlight that we haven't talked about?
I don't know. It's out on the 29th of February. It gets released. It's through Shoreline Publishing, which they're based in Ballarat in Melbourne. They're a small boutique publisher. Um, yeah, it's apparently, I did a Google the other day, and it's like it's available like to order online, like absolutely everywhere. I was really shocked. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like not just Amazon, but Booktopia. Oh my God, I can't even remember. It's just like, readings, like it's just everywhere. It's just all you search Georgie in my name, because there's another book called Georgie All Along, which is a big hit. So, that
Don't
obviously
order the
comes
wrong
up. But if
one.
sorry.
Don't order the wrong one.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can order mine and think you're ordering that one. So that's, if you do that, that's okay. But yeah, it's available sort of everywhere. So if you just search my name and get the spelling right, I guess, and
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to order. And if you're in Melbourne, there's a book launch on the 24th of March at Creatures of Habit Bar and Band Room. They're in Brunswick.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's gonna be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could go. Sounds like
Yeah,
it.
I wish you could go too, but there'll be photos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Video too, I hope. Yeah. Um,
Sorry, yeah.
all right. So is there anything else that you want to, or is that pretty much covered it? I mean, we've got the main story, main character. Oh yeah, do you
Yeah.
talk about why you are interested in young adult, or I don't know if we covered that already.
Um, if I what you read it or
No, yeah, I mean just why you decided to write young
yeah,
adult
yeah.
fiction.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it comes naturally to me. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. I think like I can sort of find the voice quite easily. I also started to write a middle grade book because my daughter's she was reading middle grade books, and I had a go at that, and that was a lot of fun. And I've written a bit of that, and I had like a sort of, but it's got to the part where something has to happen. I don't know what it's going to be, so that's on the laptop for the future, I suppose. But I don't know. Like, I think, yeah, I don't know. I just think the genre that I enjoy writing the most, I suppose. But I read like a lot more than that, you know, like YA's only. I read love biographies, memoirs, crime fiction, thrillers. Like I read way more uh, genre wise than what I write. But I don't know if that's normal or not, or whether everyone's different. I have no idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's kind of, I mean, I don't know other people, maybe they stay more in their genre, but I think it's healthy to watch. And I mean, because you know, I talk about watching because obviously I'm writing the screenplays, but yeah, to read
Yeah.
in a really wide variety, I think that that's a good idea. It can only be helpful. And yeah, I mean, read what you're interested in.
Mm,
You get input and ideas from so many different sources, so it doesn't have to always be in that one genre for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like I didn't ask you, it's set in the 80s or is it set now?
Well, well, that's a good question because I mean, I think it's set now.
Right,
Um, but like, yeah, I did it. I changed a lot of things. Like, I think I took out one of the early versions had millennial written there, and I got rid of it. And I just wrote young folk. Like I like obviously, you know, there's mobile phone, talking about mobile
right,
phones and stuff. But like I tried not to. I just find it like, I mean, you know what I mean. Like a lot of books, you know, your favorite books or whatever, you reread them, and it's just so dated, and it's always
right,
the technology. But it's just dated. You know, I tried really hard to. Obviously, it will be dated in the future, obviously, but I tried to take away words like millennial and kind of make it more, I guess, broad or general. So maybe it takes a bit longer to date, as in
right.
like to,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
just had a review. A friend of mine just did a real review of it, and she said it had a real 90s vibe.
Oh, all right, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
Cool.
I'm pretty like I think that kind of hits the nail on the head there, like an
Yeah,
indie kind of 90s vibe book. Yeah. So if
yeah,
you like that sort of stuff, you'd probably like it.
yeah. Oh, that sounds very kind of in vogue as well. I think it's all about the 90s right now. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.